Hey guys, welcome to this video, or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be doing my March reading wrap up, basically showing you guys all the books I read in March, like I do every month. I read 6 books, including a DNF. So one of the books I didn't completely finish. I read more than half of it, so I feel like it counts. But let's just get into the books that I read. I feel like I'm so awkward in this intro. The first book that I finished in March was If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nolan. This is the second book to If He Had Been With Me. Personally, I loved If He Had Been With Me. I gave it a 5-star. I could not think about anything else for the next 3 days. It was amazing. It was so good. So I was so excited to read the second book. Honestly, I was really disappointed. The first book kind of follows Autumn throughout her 4 years in high school, and I thought this was going to be Finney's point of view throughout the 4 years, but it wasn't. We only got Finney's point of view for 2 days, and then we also had Jack's and Autumn's point of views. I felt like this book was very unnecessary. I will say this book kind of gives you closure to the first book, because in the first one, the ending is a very big ending. Something big happens, a tragedy. They doesn't really talk about what happened that much, but they do in this one. This one is kind of where the characters are dealing with what happened, and I feel like this book is a good closure, I guess, but I feel like it's a closure that didn't need to be there, because I felt like that was the whole point from the first book, that there wasn't closure to it necessarily in the book. All I know is I was really disappointed with this one. It was kind of boring. It was an okay read, but definitely not as good as the first one. The first one will always have a space in my heart. Next up, I read A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novella in the ACOTAR series. This was the first time that we read about these characters where there wasn't something crazy going on, like a war or something, or a dictator or anything. It was just following the characters throughout their everyday life after the war and seeing what they're doing. So that was kind of interesting, very fun, a cute little read. I don't think that you can skip this book because it does set up for the next book. I would definitely say with Nesta and Cassian, we definitely get an insight to what stage Nesta is in, because the next book is from Nesta's point of view. So I feel like it's very crucial to the series. Not that anything big world building or plot wise that's happening, but character wise, I really think this is a good book, and you really get to connect with the characters more, because there isn't a huge war or anything going on. You're just hanging out with the characters, and I thought it was a really cute read. I don't remember what I rated it. I think I rated it a 3.75 or something. I always feel like it's a little weird rating novellas because not much happens in them, so it's kind of what am I rating it? Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed my time reading this. The next book I read is Bunny by Mona Allwood. And if you haven't seen my videos, I have been talking about this book for the past 3 months in every video, where I've just talked about how excited I was to start this book, because everyone's just what is this book even? They never know what they just read. As you're gonna tell, I have my bookmark in here because I did not finish this book. I DNF'd it because it was so terrible. I mean, I kept the bookmark in because sometimes I like to pick up my DNFs again at another point just to finish them and see what the ending was. But I could not with this book because it was so bad. The book follows a girl at, I think it's a special program. Yeah, it's a highly selective program at a university, and she's basically in this writing class with 4 other girls, and she's kind of the outsider, and then the 4 other girls are in a clique. They're very sugary, happy. The main character has given them nicknames such as Cupcake and such, and they're just overly nice and overly happy towards each other, and they call each other Bunny. They're just very weird. It's kind of like a cult almost. And up until this point, our main character has been kind of left out. Not necessarily left out, but she's just been the outsider, and then suddenly the girls in the Bunny group kind of invites her into their group. I don't even know what this book is. What? This was so weird. First of all, the writing in this was absolutely horrific. No. Immediate no. There was so much description. I get it. She lives in a shitty town. You don't have to explain it to me anymore. I get it. She could use 3 pages just explaining how shitty the town was. You could have explained it in 3 sentences. But no, you had to spend 3 pages. 3 pages in every chapter explaining it. There was so much description in the first half of the book. It was just too much. It was so annoying, and it was boring, and it was just too much. And the overall plot, I have no idea what the hell that was. But hopefully we get an explanation at the end of the book. But so far I've read 2 220 pages. That's more than halfway, and I have not gotten answers to one single of my questions, and nothing is really happening. I feel like it's just her being with us girls, and we're just, I don't know, it's just the same things happening over and over again. And sorry, but I'm not here to read 350 pages of something that I don't enjoy, something that I don't understand, and then to get answers in like last 20 pages or whatever. This was really not good. So far, I really do not like this book. I was so disappointed in this. I thought it would be so good, but it was just terrible. Next up, I read a super popular book, which is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I actually did a whole reading vlog just on this book, so if you want a more in-depth review, you can go watch that video. This is one of the most popular books, but if you don't know what it's about this girl named Violet, who all her life trained to be like a scribe, but then in the last second, her mother wanted her to become a dragon rider, so she starts at this dragon rider college. We just follow her in her first year as a cadet. It's a very dangerous college. A lot of people die, and it's just, there's very hard, dangerous trials. It's a very cute, fun little read. It's the first book in the series, and I think for a first book it did really, really well. I enjoyed it. It was very, even though a lot of people did die and it was like pretty dangerous to be here, it was still like a cozy vibe, I feel like, almost. I will say I love the beginning of the book. A lot of the middle I felt was kind of boring, and I just needed something more, and then the end of it, I really enjoyed the last bit of it. Yeah, I had kind of mixed feelings while reading this book, but again, you can watch my reading vlog. I ended up giving this a 4-star because overall I really did enjoy the reading experience, and I think it was a really good book. I'm super excited to start up Iron Flame, which is the next book in the series, and the third book's release date actually just released here the other day, so that's exciting. It was a really good first book to a fantasy series just because it was very chill, and I feel like it introduced us really well into like the characters, or the prominent characters, as well as the whole world building and the conflict that was going on and everything. So yeah, it was overall a pretty good experience. I'm super excited to see where the series takes us. I've heard that the second one is very political, so I'm really excited to see that. And the last 3 sentences in this book, like what? I had sometimes kind of foreseen it, but still, it was insane that she put that in the last like what, 3-5 sentences. Like, who does that? Who does that? I'm so glad that Iron Flame is already out, so I don't have to wait. I can just read it whenever I want. The next book that I read is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the last book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and oh my god, I just have to say this trilogy holds such a special place in my heart. I don't know what it is about it because it's not necessarily like a 5-star series, but it's just so cute. Like I said, this is the last book in the series. Honestly, I really enjoyed the whole story. I have been so excited to see how the series ends because I've just been so curious. I've honestly had no idea how it was gonna end. And then I finished the book and I didn't really know what to think about the ending. I've read the reviews on it and a lot of people don't like the ending. It's just kind of like, what was that ending? Honestly, personally for me, I think I found out that I really enjoyed the ending. It was definitely not what I had expected, and it's not an ending you usually see in fantasy books. It was just such closure. It was just, I don't know how to explain it, but personally I really liked the ending. I had to take a couple days to think about it and think about the rating, but I think I ended up rating it a 4.5 because overall I loved the story so much. I had a jaw-dropping moment and the ending was just, I had just not foreseen it, and I think it was such a cute ending to this cute story. Now I can finally start the Six of Crows duology, which I'm also really excited about. Everyone are saying that these books are trash compared to Six of Crows. I even went back and changed my rating on the first book to a 5-star. Really enjoy Alina as our main character. I don't know, I could really recommend this to people, especially if you're trying to get into fantasy or trying to get into reading. These are just really cute books. Still jaw-dropping, especially in the first one. I felt literally betrayed. Really good series, and I'm so sad that it's over. Now the last book that I read is actually also in this one because it's extra material, but you can also read it as like an ebook. It's a little novella. It's a prequel, I'm pretty sure. It is called The Demon in the Wood, and it's a Darkling prequel to the series, but I obviously read it when I had finished this book because I didn't know that it was in here. I thought it was just like extra things to the Ruin and Rising story, but no, it was a whole prequel. I will say throughout the prequel, it's only like a 30-page novella, no chapters, anything. It's just like a 30-page little story, and throughout first 28 pages, I was like, and what am I to use this for, because I didn't feel like we really learned anything about the Darkling or learned anything really throughout the 28 pages until the last like two, especially the last page, the last few lines. Those hit my, like, those lines just really made it make sense for why the Darkling did what he did and made the choices that he made. It kind of puts things into perspective, if that makes sense. I want to read a few lines. If you don't want to have the spoiler, you can skip over this part. Yeah, I think it's very important to know when you read like the series, and everything just kind of makes sense now. Now, if you don't know the Grisha-verse, it's basically where they're like normal people, and then some people are Grisha, where they have like special powers, and in most of the world, Grishas are not really liked and they get killed because they have these powers, so they kind of had to hide. So that's just a little introduction. This is like the last page, and it says, "There is no safe place, there is no haven, not for us." He understood then. The Grisha lived as shadows did, passing over the surface of the world, touching nothing, forced to change their shapes and hide in corners, driven by fear as shadows were driven by the sun. No safe place, no haven. There will be, he promised in the darkness, new words written upon his heart. I will make one. And if you had read this series, or if you read the prequel, those lines just hit hard, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what to say. That was just kind of the last piece of the puzzle in both the prequel and just everything, which is a really nice little add to the series, because or else you're just like, okay, why is the Darkling like this? Like, what is his goal with all this? But now it makes sense. I don't remember if I rated it, honestly. Maybe I rated it like a 4-star or something, just because it's such a good little add-on, if that makes sense, to the series. But it's a short novella. Again, I feel like it's kind of hard to rate those. Those were all the books that I read this month. So I had a few novellas and a DNF in here, but overall it was a pretty good reading month. I feel like I got in some really good books and some really anticipated reads. So overall I'm really happy with how the month went. I've already picked out my April TBR, so if you have not watched that video, remember to go do that, because that TBR is really exciting and I'm so excited to read those books this month. Honestly, for the first time ever, I'm pretty sure I'm actually gonna get through my TBR, or at least almost get through it. That's exciting. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. That would make me so happy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!